One, two, three. This is Dr. Alex Avila with Love University, and we're back. I'm an author, psychologist, and speaker. And every week we talk about how to love yourself, others, and higher nature. And we tackle very fascinating topics that can help you improve your life and your relationships, your finances, career, your health, and your happiness. And today's topic will be beneficial to many people out there in the listening land. And it is your supercharged self-esteem, feeling good about yourself. They say that our self-esteem peaks at age 9 when we feel we can do anything, but then we start to have doubts and issues about whether we can accomplish what we want. And self-esteem is defined as how much you like and appreciate yourself, whether it's your physical appearance, your behavior, your emotions, your actions. Now, there's a lot of research on self-esteem, but the idea is to have a middle ground where you have a realistic yet positive sense of self-esteem, but not one that's unrealistic or over the top. If you have low self-esteem, chances are you're going to get into bad habits, destructive relationships, even addictions. On the other hand, if you have an unrealistically high self-esteem, you might have what's called narcissism, which is a personality disorder where you feel that you're better than other people, you're entitled, and everything is always someone else's fault. You blame other people for your problem, and you can't take constructive criticism. You get very defensive, and sometimes even they become bullies, those that have this unrealistically over-the-top self-esteem. But most of the time, people suffer from low self-esteem. This is one of our problems in society, where they devalue themselves. Someone who has low self-esteem feel that other people are better than them, more attractive, smarter, more interesting, more lovable. People with low self-esteem constantly need reassurance from others. They can be very dependent personalities. They also have difficulty handling stress. They often feel shame, depression. They have difficulties in their relationships and their career. Sometimes it can get even worse, and they have addictions, eating disorders. And many times they have trouble accepting positive things about themselves. You can tell them many things that they're attractive and intelligent and a great person, but they may not believe it within themselves, so they feel inferior in some way. People with low self-esteem often also have a fear of failure. They don't want to take risks, whether it's in their relationship, their business, career, because they're afraid of failure. And they did a brain scan of people, and they found that those that had low self-esteem had more pain reactions when they were rejected. So the fear of rejection is very strong among people with low self-esteem. As a result, they have less motivation, they're less persistent. Also, people with low self-esteem can be more selfish because they think that other people don't want their help, that they have nothing to offer. They can become defensive, believing that other people say things about them that is intended to hurt them. And what happens is that it becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. The more they withdraw from other people, the more the people will not contact them. And then they'll say, well, nobody wants to spend time with me. But of course, they're already withdrawing from other people. So they're actually creating their own scenario. Now let's talk a little bit about the healthy self-esteem person. Someone that has a good sense of self, they believe in themselves, they respect themselves, and they love themselves. People with a healthy sense of self-esteem are seen as being more likable, more attractive, better people. Oftentimes they get into more positive relationships. They do better at work, finances, career, and they're often happier as well. People who have high self-esteem, healthy self-esteem, have the ability to say no to what they don't want and say yes to what they do want. They can express their needs. They maintain a positive outlook on life. Things that happen to them that are negative, they can turn them around. Also, they have less fear of failure. They're more willing to take intelligent risks, whether it's in their finances, career, relationships. And they don't believe they're better than other people or they're worse than other people. They believe that everyone is unique and has special talents. Now, what creates and maintains healthy self-esteem? Well, we know that we have what we call the inner voices that we adopt from people in our lives, perhaps our parents, mentors, peers. These voices can be critical inner voices that attack us and say, you're not smart enough, you're not attractive enough, you're not lovable enough. Or it can be supportive voices that say, you are attractive, you are successful, you are a good person, you are intelligent. So depending on the voices and how you nurture them, you can start to feel either with lower or better self-esteem. Also, expectations are important. What do you expect from other people? If you expect that someone will like you and they don't, that could in some ways lower a person's self-esteem. They did a study where they had people put up their personal profile online, and they had people that rated them, either people that were easy raters that pretty much liked everybody, or people that were very tough raters that didn't really like a lot of people. When they had someone that was easy rater, they expected to be liked, and when they weren't liked, they often had lower self-esteem as a result. Another factor is positive associations with people. People that are supportive, positive, optimistic can help build your self-esteem or help you with your self-esteem, and those that are negative and critical can help reduce your self-esteem. Now, some research shows that as you get older, past your middle years, self-esteem may go down unless you have certain factors. For example, if you're emotionally stable, if you're conscientious, you're a responsible person, dutiful person, and you're socially involved, you have friends who support you, and that's a very important predictor of self-esteem in later years? Do you have a social network of people that really care about you, that are good-natured? So let's talk a little bit about how to raise your self-esteem, because a lot of us, in some areas, maybe we're confident in our work, but maybe not in our love life, maybe in our love life, but not in career or dealing with family or friends. So there's always sometimes an area where people don't have good self-esteem. So how do we raise our self-esteem? First of all, is to develop what's called self-compassion. Self-compassion is the ability to love and forgive yourself for mistakes that you made. And that's one of the hardest things for many people. I wrote a book called The 3 Secrets of Happiness. And in the book, one of the great secrets of joy and happiness is that ability to forgive, especially to forgive yourself, to have compassion. When you make a mistake, maybe you made a mistake at work, you cost some money to your employer, or you made a mistake in your business, you lost some money. You might attack yourself, chastise yourself for that mistake. But you can ask yourself, what if my loved one did that? My son or daughter or spouse or parent? You would probably be a lot more forgiving toward that person. So apply the same standard to you. Think of yourself as being that loved one who made the mistake. In the same way, be your own best friend or your own coach. Support yourself when things are tough, when you may have made an error, and realize that you can improve and get better. One way to do this is to have a 2-minute daily appreciation break. So perhaps at the end of the day, you think of all the things you like about yourself, things that are positive. So Reggie, my producer, I want to bring you in here now. Tell me 3 things that you appreciate about yourself, Reggie.
I'm smart, I'm considerate, and I'm honest.
Okay, very nice, Reggie. So you're not going to lie, you're not going to be inconsiderate, and you're going to be a good guy. Okay, I like that. Now, how do you feel when you say those things, Reggie?
Well, I feel good. I feel good about myself.
Yes, so your self-esteem is better, right? Because you repeat that. But unfortunately, we have self-defeating thoughts. So many times we have thoughts that attack us. It says we're not smart, we're not a good person, we're not honest. And these are what we call thinking fallacies or irrational thinking. For example, one's called the all or nothing. That, for example, you say, I go to this job interview, and if I don't get this job interview, my career's over. Of course, there'll be other job interviews that could be also very, very important to you. But people that are low self-esteem often have this all or nothing thinking. Or they're able to turn a positive into a negative. They got an A on a test, and they say, well, that test was easy. I got lucky. I'm really not very smart. So again, they attack themselves even when they get good news. And oftentimes people that have low self-esteem jump to negativity. They might meet someone online, and they text them, and the person doesn't respond. And then they get mad. They said, you don't really care about me. You don't have time for me. And they can ruin a good relationship possibly because they become defensive. Now, Reggie, we talked about your past a little bit, that you're autistic and you basically haven't really had a relationship with a woman that's loving. And we have a standing bet, Reggie, that I would give you a $100 date if you could find a good woman to go out with. And so far it's been about a year, Reggie. You haven't done it. So tell me, what are your self-limiting beliefs? What do you think is holding you back in terms of these self-defeating thoughts?
Maybe I feel the positive qualities I have, character-wise, personality-wise, maybe I feel like they don't translate to my physical appearance or whatever, and maybe I get kind of overwhelmed thinking about that.
So you're not good looking. Is that the thought in your head?
I mean, I think I'm decent looking. I think I'm not hideously ugly, but I'm not like, setting the world on fire with my looks.
Okay. So you're saying that your inner qualities don't translate to the outer look, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of what you think. So that could be a self-defeating thought, Reggie, because many times someone who's beautiful inside, it reflects outside, and people find that attractive. So you would want to change that thought into, I'm an attractive person. I'm a beautiful person, inside and out. So let's say, have you repeat that to me.
I'm a beautiful person, an attractive person, inside and out.
I like that, Reggie. Look, you're smiling now. You're looking good, huh? You got a new haircut too. I think you're sharpening up a little bit. So that's part of it. The other thing is to see self-defeating thoughts as a temporary kind of like entity that's in your mind. It's not really you. It's just something that travels through you. If you put focus on it, now this is what happens many times. People repeat the same phrase. I'm not attractive. I'm not desirable. And then they add emotion to it. They feel sad, disappointed. That makes the emotion stronger, the thought stronger. So what you need to do is simply admit that the thought is in your mind and let it go and let it transfer through you, and it is not you. And that will diminish the power of that particular self-defeating or negative thought. The other thing that's important to do, Reggie and our listeners, is to transform the negative to the positive. So a woman who's been in an abusive relationship may leave that husband, but then she'll say, well, I was with him for many years. He was the love of my life, and we have children. So part of her mind is wanting her to go back, but what she needs to do is realize, hey, he was very abusive. It was very painful. I'm going to find a better love someday. I'm going to find a better relationship for myself and my children, and that's turning the negative to the positive. And I've learned a lot of things from what I've gone through. The other thing that will also help improve your self-esteem is to stop doing what's called upward comparison. Compare yourself to people that are so-called better than you or doing better. Nowadays with social media, that's unfortunately something that people often do. They check other people's social media and they're having a great time, they have relationships, they're traveling. You might be alone at home and you're not doing any fun things. We need to realize that, first of all, that person's putting their best foot forward, their best pictures and things like that. It may not be their real life, maybe they're not really happy inside. But more importantly than that, it's important to realize that instead of comparing yourself to other people, compare yourself to yourself. How much have you improved or are improving in your life? Do you have a better car now, a better house? Have you learned something about yourself? Do you have better physical health? And focus on those things you have learned and the way you've grown. Maybe you're more spiritual than you were before. And that's an important way to look at it. Compare yourself to the person you are becoming or are right now. And you might say, well, something, I'm not doing very well right now. In fact, I'm 5 years ago, I was better off than I am today. What do I do now? If you don't have success in the moment, you can start to visualize your future success. And we've done this exercise before where you think of 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, where you're doing better. You're in your chosen career. You're surrounded by people that love you, that you love. Maybe you're enjoying life, a certain lifestyle. You're traveling. You have maybe children around you, animals that you love. And you feel that feeling, that emotion of joy and satisfaction. And that starts to propel you forward toward that future you that is now the present you. And also it's important to do what I call affirmation of don. Don is your God-given or special gift that you have. Don divino means gift from God. And that could be a talent that you have. Maybe you're a great writer, or you could be a speaker, a teacher, a business person, a scientist, an artist, perhaps a parent. Maybe you're a great friend. And those are great abilities that you have, so it's good to write them down. Maybe you start a little journal, whether it's a notebook on your pad or your phone. Write down the things you're good at and also successes you've had. Maybe you have won an award for your writing. Maybe you've helped a child learn something. You've been a great neighbor in some ways. So write down those things and keep affirming that you have something very special that's unique to you, a talent, a gift that you can use for yourself and others. At the same time, you can display success symbols. Perhaps a part of your room or your house, you can put your awards, your photos, some kind of trophy, and also photos of having a great time being with loved ones as well can inspire you. Another thing that can help raise your self-esteem is to be brutally committed to your word. One of my favorite authors is Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements. He talked about be impeccable with your word. So when you say something to yourself or others, follow through in that commitment. Let's say I want to lose a certain amount of weight. I wanted to start school again. I want to start a business. And do those things that you say you will do when you say it to yourself or others. Or if you commit to a friend to help them, help that person. When you don't keep your word, you will start to lose trust and respect for yourself, and you lose your inner power. However, when you do what you say and you say what you do, you will increase your power, the ability to complete tasks, and to have integrity with your word. The other thing that's very important is that sometimes people get overwhelmed. They think, I want to lose X amount of pounds, and I don't know if I can do that. Or I want to make a certain amount of money, have investments or savings. So the key is to start with a small success. Start a little bit at a time. You might work out 15 to 20 minutes a few days a week initially, and then you start to get more motivation and you enjoy it, and you release endorphins, pleasure chemicals, and you want to work out more. Or you might have a platform that invests for you, automatically takes a little bit of money out of your account and invest in certain kind of stocks or bonds, and you build that portfolio so you start to feel good about yourself. You're making a difference in your financial future. And that actually builds each upon the next, having that kind of motivation to improve your life a little bit at a time. And finally, one of my favorite techniques, and we talk about this a lot, for raising self-esteem is to give loving energy without expectation. Smile at people, help them, volunteer for charity, give to people that need help, maybe help your friends move or organize something, listen to a friend in need, even someone you don't know very well, volunteer for a hotline. There are many ways that you can give loving energy to help people without expectation. And the key is without expectation, without expecting anything back, even that they'll say thank you, because it shows that you have an abundance within you. You have an abundance of resources that you can give to others. And by giving more, you will receive more because you understand that the universe works in your favor. So what you need to do is take an inventory. Ask yourself to give to others, what do I have in terms of time, skills, money? What things can I give away to other people in terms of material objects? And again, the more you give away, the more you feel you have resources that are within you. You feel more abundant and there's less scarcity. So by practicing these kind of techniques we're talking about, these exercises, you can actually start to develop this appreciation for who you are as a human being, to love yourself. And we talk about this at Love University. One of the first things is to love ourselves. Not in an egotistical way, a narcissistic way, but in a very balanced way that focuses on compassion and helping other people and giving back to the world. And the summary of this is to say that you want to find your place in the world. It's neither higher than anyone else, it's neither lower, but it's just uniquely you, where you belong. Think of planting a little seed, and that seed with sun and water becomes a tree, becomes strong and sturdy, and gives shade to other people who want to sit by the tree. So in the same way, you need to plant your tree of love and positivity and energy and talent in the world. Stake your claim that you have uniqueness, you have your inner power, you have a lot of love and contribution to explore. And there's no need to be envious of other people or to feel that you are superior, but to realize that all of us have this unique place, this unique tree that can be us. So again, Love University students, I give you a challenge this week to go out and raise your self-esteem, your self-value, your self-worth. Give yourself time to rest and recuperate. And also, if you're a perfectionist, and this is another issue, is to think that you can do things 80% perfect, not 100%, not 90%, but 80% perfect. Maybe you can increase that later. But realize that you can be perfectly fine, leaving work a little bit early at times, maybe not completing a project, but knowing that you are doing what you can to succeed and also to feel better about yourself, to build your self-esteem, because the more you build your self-esteem, the more successful you will be externally, the more love you can give to others, and the more happiness you can enjoy. So go out this week and raise your self-esteem. Think of the things you have done well in life, your successes, where you want to be in the future. Give loving energy without expectation, and practice, above all, self-compassion, and be able to increase the positive thoughts in your mind and reduce the self-defeating thoughts. So again, if you want to reach us, you can reach us at loveuniversitylove@gmail.com. Visit us at loveuniversity.love. You can like us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Until next time, put away your iPads, your books, your pens, your pencils, and have a self-esteem supercharged week this week. Love University students, Dr. Alex Avila.